Hello YouTube, this is D-Deck and recording from my phone, and Duel Links has just added a new box to their card shop, the Selection Box Vol1. Now the Selection Box isn't actually a new box, but rather it's a reprint box containing mostly cards available in the first couple of boxes. That said, at first glance this looks like a great opportunity for someone like me who's free to play and doesn't drop money in the game to get extra copies of those one or two of cards I wasn't able to get before, because, I don't drop the money for it. However, this box isn't actually for me, despite all that. This box is actually meant for newer players in the game who, they go to the card shop and they see that there's 17 boxes worth of cards plus 4 structure decks, and they don't really know where to start from. So they start from the newer boxes because the newer boxes contain some of the more powerful cards, like Wall Disruption, Floodgate Trap Hole, and they don't focus on the older boxes because, well, they don't have an opportunity to get to those older boxes because they're focusing on the newer boxes. And it's a real shame because some of the older boxes contain cards like Spear Karibo, Surgeon Electro, Super Rush Headlong, Mirror Wall, some really good cards that are basically staples, and they don't have access to those cards because they just aren't able to. However, this box not only gives them the opportunity, gives an opportunity for all those old boxes right there, but also gives opportunity for collectors such as myself a chance to collect some new cards that are very powerful if you know how to use them. For example, we got Thestos the Firestorm Monarch, a 2400 attack Pyro-type monster. And the reason why that's good is because not only can you special summon this card by the effect of the thing in the crater, if you equip this card with the Salamandra, an equip spell card that increases a Fire-type monster by 700 attack, that brings this monster's attack power total to 3100. Not to mention, if you combine this with Molten Destruction, it gives Fire-type monsters an extra 500 attack points, raising this thing up to 3600. A 3600 attack point monster, which is crazy. Not to mention, if you also tribute summon it, not only do you get rid of a card out of your opponent's hand, if that card happens to be a monster, you can also burn them for a little bit of damage, which, on average, the card you're probably going to get out of your opponent's hand is going to be a level 4. You inflict 400, 36 plus 400, that's 4000 right there. This card is very dangerous if you know how to use it. That said, there's also Curse of the Dragonfire. And Curse of Dragonfire is a lot more scary than you think, because when it's normal or special summon, it gets rid of field spells, which, aside from decks that have a field spell presence, like maybe Ojamas or something, it also really is good against those players who are using Yami or Sogen or Wasteland as their starting skill. It gets rid of that field spell and weakens their little advantage that the field spell gives them. Not to mention, so long as this card remains face up on the field, once per turn, you can basically have access to Fusion Substitute. You can fusion summon monsters that are face up on your side of the field, and that's really powerful if you don't have access to get to Polymerization for whatever reason. Not to mention, it's a Dragon-type monster. There's a lot of different ways you can get Dragon-type monsters out, like Kid Moto or Dragon Rebirth. I forget the name off the top of my head, but there is some Dragon support with this card, so this card does have potential to be scary. Not to mention the scariest of all 4 of them have to be Double Cyclone. And for those who don't know what this card is, this is basically a discount mystical space typhoon. And what this card does is you target one spell trap card you control, one spell trap card your opponent controls, and you pop them. Now you're probably wondering, why is that good? You're using 2 of your cards to get rid of one of your opponent's cards. Well, the reason why that's good is because you can chain this card to cards you just activated. Like, say for example, your opponent summons a monster and sets a back row and then attacks with that monster. Not only can you then flip over your Wall Disruption, you can then activate this card, target your Wall Disruption, and then target that card they just set, and then pop those cards. It's just not only getting rid of a card they have, but also their monsters are already going to be weakened at the same time. In addition, you can also target cards like Security Orbs or Wild Tornado that have an effect where if they're set and they're destroyed, you basically can pop your opponent's monster. By combining these 2 cards together, you not only get rid of a back row card, but you also get rid of one of their opponent's monsters, which is a very scary combo play. And then of course there's Kudai with Chains. Kudai with Chains, not only the coolest sounding card ever, but it's also an enemy controller that also activates as an equip spell card, pretty much, giving them 500 attack points. That's really scary if you know how to play with it. Not to mention, scrolling down, it also is showing off the Firestorm Vassal, which the Firestorm Vassal not only can special summon itself out of your hand by discarding a card, but if you happen to use it, you can actually look at your opponent's hand. You can see what your opponent's playing, and you can possibly get rid of a card out of their hand until the end of the turn, which may be a Spear Karibo, or it may be a card they might need to discard. It's not to mention, if you put this card in Sphinx, Sphinx, you can revive it from Sphinx, tribute to Sphinx from your hand, and you can just do some plays. All in all, this set looks very, very awesome, to be honest. And looking at the little tagline down here, it seems that there are 12 new cards. So again, for collectors, we get access to 12 new cards to add to our collection. That's pretty awesome. That is to say, until you actually look at the box. And it's not so much that you look at the box, but rather you see right about here, right on the top line here, there is a purchase limit. Yes, that's right. There is a purchase limit for how many times you can use gems to buy this box. 15 to be exact. And again, for someone who's free to play, and also a collector, that means that it's almost going to be impossible to actually be able to get those 12 new cards. Which kind of sucks, in my opinion. It's terrible, in my opinion. Now, Duel Links has a limiter like this when it comes to their structure decks. You can pay with gems to buy one of the structure decks, but if you want extra structure decks, you're going to need to pony up some cash. Which, that's fine. You're already getting one structure deck, and it's perfectly fine. This, however, you can only pay to a maximum of 3,000 gems just to get 15 packs. And for those who are wondering, the reason why it's 200 cards is because every pack contains an ultra rare and 11 other cards. Those 11 other cards are rares and normals, pretty much. Which, there are a couple good cards out of this pack, like Joel's and Possessed Dark Soul, which is basically the counterplay to people countering 4-star Lady of Doom. It's not to mention there's that security orb I mentioned. There's a lot of good cards in that setup, but there's also some other randos as well. But that said, the reason why this is bad is because there's too much of a margin of error for this to be messed up. And I say that because, again, there's 12 cards they offer that are brand new for you to basically purchase. And you don't really have access to purchasing those cards because if you get four other copies of cards that are already existing, for someone like me who already have bought all the old packs, you basically have zero chance of getting in the rest. It's very disheartening. It's very terrible. Not to mention, they're asking you to pay money to get the rest of the box. Get more chances. So how much money would you actually pay? Well, first off, you have to pay 3,000 gems just to get those first 15. Which, I have that, and I'm not going to be dropping that whatsoever, but it's 3,000 gems right there. Not to mention, they also offering a little promo for either 1-pack or 5-pack for a discounted price. Okay, cool. That means you drop $10 to get 6 packs. So then you're down to left to 39 packs. So how much money would you have to pay just to try to get the rest of the box? Because if you're someone like me who's opening up the boxes, on occasion, that ultra rare or super rare that's in the very last pack is always a pain in the butt. So assuming that you have to buy all that just to get that one ultra rare super rare that you haven't gotten yet, well, the fastest way seems to be the 12-pack option. For $30, you can get 12 packs. So 12 packs is 36. So right there, that's $90 to get 36 packs. And then you still have 3 packs left over. There's a 3-pack option right there, so that's $8 more. So that's what? $108 plus 3,000 gems minus, well, technically minus 750 because you're getting that from buying those packs. So you're technically looking at spending 2,250 gems plus $108 just for the sole purpose of trying to get 12 cards. That seems ridiculous. That seems stupid, and that seems ridiculous. Now, if the limit was 1 box, I can understand that. Because, I mean, not to mention, a lot of these cards, people have dropped money in the game already have multiple copies of this card. They probably don't even need multiple copies. The only reason that they might actually want multiple copies is for a chance to get maybe a glossy version of those cards. And even then, like, you still have those copies of your cards. There's no real reason to drop the extra money for the extra cards. And not to mention, some of the rares and super rares, you probably don't even need. Like, I don't really see people using Attack of the Moon, nor do I see people using Sinister Serpent, even though Sinister Serpent is a very underrated card right now. Not to mention, there's a lot of cards that have already been cycled out, like Enchanted Javelin was once a very popular card, but people have now replaced that with a Magic Drain, or I can't talk, I can't think. And there's just a lot of cards people don't use anymore as much. There is a couple good cards, but some of these cards have already been cycled out, so it's one of those, it doesn't really match up that well, and I'm just very disappointed. I was excited, very excited, and then my hopes have just been dropped. But what do you think? Because, again, just one big old disappointment. But other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day.